My liege.
I am ready! Bring on the Vikings!
So even though Vikings Valhalla wrapped up with its third season, it teased a few storylines that could have led to a fourth season. The show, which followed the end of the Viking Age, featured a fresh cast of characters with various backgrounds and goals, all connected by their Viking heritage. You had Leif Erikson, played by Sam Corlett, his sister Freydís, played by Frida Gustavsson, Harald Sigurdsson, played by Leo Suter, King Canute of Denmark, played by Bradley Freegard, and Emma of Normandy, played by Laura Berlin, all brought together by the St. Brice's Day Massacre. After Season 2 of Vikings Valhalla wrapped up, with Harald and Leif arriving in Constantinople, Freydís taking charge of Jomsborg, and Emma keeping a close watch on Godwin, who tried to have her killed, Season 3 picked up with them all 7 years later. Even though it was the final season, Season 3 brought in some new characters and set up some pretty intriguing storylines for the main cast, but unfortunately, they were left hanging. Although there won't be a fourth season, the final season did leave some plot threads that could have easily led into more episodes. Harald proclaimed himself the only king of Norway. Since Season 1 of Vikings Valhalla, Harald was set on becoming king of Norway, but his half-brother Olaf, played by Johannes Haukur Johannesson, was a major roadblock. With Olaf out of the way after Freydís took him down in Season 2, Harald was free to pursue his goal, though he needed money to build his army. After escaping execution in Constantinople and taking out George Maniakis, Harald gathered his forces and headed to Kattegat to claim the throne. By then, Olaf's son Magnus had taken over as King of Norway after killing Canute's son Svein and his mother, Queen Alfgifu. Harald and Magnus agreed to rule together, but things went south when Leif saved Freydís from execution. Harald turned against Magnus, had him imprisoned, and declared himself the sole King of Norway under the name Harald Hardrada, kicking off a harsh reign. The real Harald Hardrada earned his nickname, which means hard ruler or stern counsel, because he was known for his brutal methods, often maiming or killing people to keep them in line. Vikings Valhalla made it clear that Harald's time in Constantinople only hardened him, and imprisoning Magnus was just the start of his ruthless rule. Hereford arrived to become the new King of England. In Season 3 of Vikings Valhalla, King Canute passed away and called his sons, Emma's son, and their son Harthacnut to Kattegat to decide who'd be his successor. Edward and Canute's son, Harald Harefoot, had a showdown to prove who was stronger, but neither ended up with the Norwegian throne. Canute decided Sven would stay as King of Norway, Harthacnut would be King of Denmark, with Harefoot as regent, Edward and his brother Alfred would head back to Normandy, and Emma would rule England solo. After Canute's death, Godwin, worried the earls might turn against Emma, suggested she summon Edward. But Emma had already done that, so Godwin kept the message from reaching him and instead brought Harefoot, whom he promised to help become king. What Godwin didn't expect was Emma's charm working on Harefoot, hinting that Emma and Harefoot might end up together to secure her position as queen. In real history, Emma of Normandy had to flee England when Harefoot became regent and grew increasingly popular, eventually being crowned king in 1037. If Season 4 had happened, it might have explored whether Emma and Harefoot really got together and how their relationship would play out, along with whether Harefoot's rising popularity or Godwin's schemes would force Emma to flee again. Godwin's next move. Godwin's loyalty was always up for grabs depending on what suited him best, and that was pretty clear from the start of Vikings Valhalla when he killed King Edmund. His scheming reached new heights in Season 2, when he even plotted Emma's assassination to get a spot in the royal family, which he managed when he married Canute's niece, Geitha. Given how his plans didn't exactly pan out by the end of Season 3, he'd likely have cooked up another scheme if there had been a fourth season. Godwin had promised to guide Harefoot to the English throne, and whether or not he ended up marrying Emma, he would have stuck by Harefoot's side. He knew Emma was sharp, but he didn't anticipate her being so kind to Harefoot. Despite this, Godwin's ambitions for his son to become King of England were far from over, so his manipulative plans were likely just beginning. William's future will be important. In Season 3 of Vikings Valhalla, William, Duke of Normandy, played by Eli Solon, only popped up a couple of times, but he's got a pretty important future ahead of him. We first meet him when Canute and Emma visit Normandy to catch up with her brother and her sons, Edward and Alfred, who have been living there for 7 years. We also get a flashback that shows William's backstory. He was an orphan with some family disputes about who would take care of him, since he was set to inherit his father's title as Duke of Normandy. William was under the guidance of his uncle, who made all the decisions for him. But since William was about to turn 15 and take on the Duke role himself, his uncle might have had different plans. The last time we see William, he makes a pact with Edward and Alfred to claim what's rightfully theirs, setting the stage for some intriguing developments in his future. Stigr and Harald Jr.'s return to Greenland. In Vikings Valhalla, Leif finally found his purpose and got ready for a major journey. He talked about a land he'd glimpsed years ago while traveling with his dad, calling it the Golden Land. When he got to Kattegat, he was looking for a ship for this big adventure, and Canute hooked him up with a ship and a crew. After rescuing Freydís from execution, Leif and Freydís set off together, with Freydís hoping the Golden Land might be a new home for the Joms Vikings. In reality, Leif Erikson was the first European to set foot in continental America, which he named Vinland, and even established a settlement there. If Vikings Valhalla had a 4th season, we would have seen Leif and Freydís reach Vinland and tackled a bit of a continuity issue from the original Viking series, which had Floki, played by Gustaf Skarsgård, as the first European in America. Freydís promised a new home to the Joms Vikings. In Season 2 of Vikings Valhalla, we learn that Freydís was pregnant with Harald's child, and she gave birth to their son in Jomsborg. By Season 3, Stigr was training Harald Jr. in combat, and the boy was close to his grandfather, so he didn't mind when Stigr took him away from home. Freydís promised Stigr she'd come back for him, Harald Jr., and the Joms Vikings. But by the end of the season, it looked like she was heading straight to the Golden Land with her brother. If there had been a Season 4, it would have cleared up whether Freydís stopped in Greenland to pick up her son and partner before heading to the Golden Land, or if she planned to do that on her way back from Vinland. And that's a wrap on our deep dive into the intriguing storylines that Vikings Valhalla Season 4 could have explored. From Harald's ruthless reign to the uncertain future of Leif, Freydís, and the Joms Vikings, there was so much potential for new adventures. What do you think would have been the most exciting twist in a 4th season? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more updates and discussions on your favorite shows, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out.